Hello everyone. For today's video, we're going to be going and checking out Big Bradley Falls. This is in Saluda, North Carolina, in the Green River Gamelands area. I've actually been in this area several times, and I've been in the direction of where we're about to head in just a few minutes a couple other times, but I have not featured a video on this channel. You do have to get Currently, you have to get permission to enter the restricted area around Big Bradley Falls, which I'm going to go over and cover that in just a minute. And actually, I'm gonna sit down in my vehicle before I get started and just go over some general information about the current and future status of Big Bradley Falls, because there are things I see online. A lot of people are just confused on what you can and can't do here. So I'm going to try and clear that up, and then I'm going to hit the trail. All right, so I said I was going to sit down, but I just decided to come on. The parking lot was starting to get kind of full. But so this is the back of my form, which you can see someone has signed there. It's basically a waiver / permission form. Make the phone call to them. They send you the form. You fill it out. You scan it. Send it back to them, and then they have one of their wildlife guys sign it and send it back to you. So as far as the confusion that I mentioned, so a lot of people, when they come out here, they're kind of confused on what exactly this restricted area means and why, even though on the other signs it kind of notes what exactly that means. But to explain it further in detail, you cannot enter anything outlined here. So when you're on the trail, basically what those areas are basically, once you get down here to the creek, which we'll show here in just a little bit, once you cross the creek and go just a little ways, the restricted area starts. So in the restricted area, there's the overlook trail, the trail that leads to the top of the waterfall, the one that leads to the rock wall you have to rappel down, and any of the other makeshift scramble paths that are there, and the area at the base of the falls too. Just the whole area in general surrounding the falls is restricted. So that's what you have to get the permission for, to enter that. And it's restricted because there's been many accidents, and I think either 8 or 9 of those have been fatal, where someone has fell to their death, unfortunately. But the overlook itself is basically just an exposed cliff. I mean, if you look down over the overlook, which I do not recommend doing, it is a straight free fall down. It's probably not a fall that anyone would survive if they were to fall all the way down from there. But so that's kind of how it is currently. But whenever I got my permission or my waiver, I did have the pleasure of speaking with one of the wildlife guys that kind of oversees things that happen for Green River Gamelands, and he did inform me that about 2 weeks from now, and today is February the 5th, about 2 weeks from now, they have plans to come out here, and what they're going to do is clean up the overlook trail. There's some deadfall, a lot of down trees, and it's just very uneven from where it's just been washed out over the years and some recent storms that we've had in the past few years. But they're going to clean that up, and they're going to build a retaining wall that goes around the overlook, so you can't just simply, stumble and fall over the edge, or you can't really just get close to the edge. There'll be a retaining wall there. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like or how tall it'll be, but at the beginning of this video, I put a little 10-second or so clip in there that kind of showed you the big concrete barriers that I'm pretty sure that's what's going to be in place there. I can't think of another reason why those will be here, but he did tell me there'll be concrete blocks, but I don't know for certain that the ones at the beginning of this video, if that's what he meant or not. But I would just assume that since he told me that those may be the ones that are going to be hauled up there and put in place. With that being said, in the beginning, whenever they first closed this, and back in 2020, there were talk and rumors of them possibly constructing and building a trail that would take you to the base of the falls safely. And I did ask about that when I had him on the phone. He told me that once they had their engineers out here and people surveying and just doing different things, and the end result of that was they determined that there was not going to be a safe way for them to build a trail that would take you to the base. So they just, for the foreseeable future, that idea has been scratched. So the plan is to just fix the overlook trail, and then once that's done, he couldn't exactly say how long it would take, but I would imagine it may be, could be spring, it could be late spring. You never can tell with how certain things like this may take. It may only take a couple weeks. I mean, who knows? You got to factor in weather and other things like that. But once that's done, the overlook trail will be opened back up. It will no longer be restricted. They'll probably still keep signs up that you know, tell you don't try to go to the base, but the overlook trail will be opened back up. So with all that being said, if there's something that you have a question about, you can feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll try to answer it if I can. But that's it for that. I'm gonna get started on the hike. Alright, so getting started now. I did leave out one detail as far as the permission form. Not that it's gonna matter because they're gonna come out here and fix all this, but the permission form / waiver is good. It covers you for 1 year, 1 calendar year from when the form is signed. So like mine was signed on the 31st of January, so I would be good until that time next year. Just thought I'd mention that just in case for some reason this does not get worked out to where they have the overlook and all back open. But just thought I'd share that too. So the trail is marked with blue blazes. They are kind of faded, but you can still make most of them out. Not exactly sure how far apart they are, but it is marked with blue blazes. I think you get down here to the creek, which may be 2 or 3/10 of a mile. And then the overlook trail starts about a half a mile or so from the creek, I think. Probably gonna go to the overlook. I do want to get to the base. I'm not exactly sure if I'm gonna do that today. I'm just gonna kind of play it by ear and see how I feel once I get in that area. But eventually one day I will get to the base, but I'm kind of playing it by ear today. So we'll definitely get to the overlook. Be able to show you that and the view you have from there. Just keep in mind that this is winter time, and in the spring and summer months you'll have foliage which will partially obstruct some of the view, but it's still a pretty good view from there, as I've seen in photos and things shared online. Getting closer to the creek. This is a creek area. It's pretty popular for people just kind of coming and relaxing and wading in the water right here. And it's actually a bonus waterfall here. This one is named Creekside Falls. It's actually got a pretty good flow on today. The past few days it has rained in the area. A decent amount of rain, so there's actually an upper section up there. You can barely see, but it's up there. Yeah. This little one here is flowing pretty good today. The creek just continues on down that way. So we'll go back to the trail right here and go on down further to where we actually cross the creek at. Hopefully the logs that someone has put there in the past are still there and they're not too deteriorated for us to cross. Otherwise we'll be looking for a place to wade across, which I'm not totally against doing, but it's probably about 38, 39 degrees out here right now. I'd rather avoid that if possible. So that's where we just were up there. This right here is where we're going to cross the creek at. If it's stable enough. Basically straddle this log right here. It takes you to one rock and you kind of hop over to another. But this creek is up way more than usual. So may have to think about this one for a minute, if it's even possible today. All right, so I made it across the creek. I elected to go back up to where the little waterfall was, and I went across at the shallowest spot. And I made it about 3/4 of the way across, and then it got just deep as I was just about to get to the big rocks right there in the center of the screen, and water rushed into both of my boots, so my feet are wet now. It was kind of painful, so cold for just a second, but it's kind of, after I took my boots off and drained them out, it's not so bad now, but my feet and socks are wet. So I do have another pair, but we will hold off to changing socks until I have made it to the falls and then back across the creek, because I don't want to get both pairs wet. So now we're on the final stretch of what we come here for. This is what some of the trail looks like here. This is just the way it looks after many years of hard rains and washouts. There are some side paths, like there's one right here that will take you down to a kind of like a big open campsite area, and there's a fire pit that someone's kind of homemade down in there. We're not going to do that today, but you just stick to the path here. We know it's correct because there's blue marking right there on that tree. Big tree here just fell over the top of the trail. Someone has cut up sometime. Actually, several of them that they've had to deal with. This one right here looks a little more recent than the others. All right, so this is the path here that will take you to the top of the falls. You can see right there where that yellow line starts. Also, once you get so far down, I believe it branches off to the right and will eventually lead you to where the rock wall is that you have to rappel down. I think it's 20 to 30 feet tall. You have to rappel down with a rope. I did bring a rope if I decided I wanted to do that. Still debating on what exactly I'm going to do. But we continue going this way. It will take you to the overlook trail. So I'm headed that way now. So this trail here is another path that will take you down. I'm not sure if it leads you to the rock wall or not, but it is a trail that will take you down to a point where you can get a little better view than the overlook. We may check that out on the way back. For now, I'm just going to continue to the overlook. And I believe that trail and the other one, they're fairly short. They're just steep, and be some places where you may have to, maybe on all fours or getting pretty low to the ground to make it across. Still on the trail to the overlook, but we can see the top of it from right here. If you look in the center of the screen, you can see it just a little bit. The overlook is right down here. Right down here where this other warning sign is. Right here at the start of this dotted line is where we're going to go. It's just making it clear to you that it is in fact a pretty straight drop off. 8 people have fell to their death here. We're going to keep the camera up for most of this. We're going to go straight down through here. There's a big tree laying down there. We're going to have to crawl under or go over. Not sure yet till we get there, but and just not far beyond that, we'll be right down there at the overlook. Almost at the overlook. There is remnants of a trail here that goes to the left just before the overlook, which is right down there. Not exactly sure where that goes. It may loop back around and connect to the trail that goes to the top, maybe. So this is Big Bradley Falls. And on all the pictures I've seen, the stream that's on the left side here is almost not visible in some of the pictures, but since it's rained here quite a bit in the last few days, you can see it pretty well. Pretty good flow on it today, I believe. One tree right there on the right side that I wouldn't mind if it wasn't there. You have a perfect view of it from here. And this is the overlook area. This is the view you get from it. It's a pretty good sized spot. And there's actually a scramble path that goes this way too, or it starts to. A little overgrown, but you can tell that some foot traffic have hit that in the day at some point. But it's a pretty decent sized area right here. Probably could comfortably have a dozen people here, you know, if it was, you know, closed in like they're gonna make it. Pretty excellent viewpoint. So I made it back to the main trail up the top. I'm going to continue past it just a little bit, just to see what I see. See if there's any other paths to go down, possibly. I think that this marking here is telling you that the restricted area ends. I think. I have to look at the map in a little bit, check on that, but I'm thinking that maybe that's what that does. Really good view from the overlook. Once that's back in order, where you can visit it on a normal basis, it will, I would say it would suffice. if you want better pictures and just more of an adventurous experience, you know, maybe your choice to go to the bottom or not. You just need to be sure of your physical abilities. Be certain of your physical abilities, what you're capable of, and if you got enough arm strength to pull yourself up, you need to in places. This may actually be a path right here. Looks like it could be. I may go down so far on that just to see if I can tell where it goes. It's either a path or a washout. Drainage. So I come down off of a side path, really the last one that I mentioned in the clip before. I've got so far, and I've come to some ropes here that have been tied off. Looks like you got one here that's old, and this one right here is much newer than that one. Someone has placed here. I would guess that this one right here has probably been put here in the last few months. Still not a good idea to trust a rope that someone else put here. You just don't really know for sure how long. So I do have mine if I decide to go down further here. I'm gonna think about it for a minute, look at the map for a second, see what I see. So after going so far down that one where the ropes were, I decided to felt more comfortable coming back up and checking out one of these other side paths. That one there, you could only see where one section of the rope ended. I could not tell what was beyond that, and the rope that I had was only 100 foot long. So I'm not saying that one's not doable, but for today I'm going to check out another spot. So this is the view you get if you go down the path that's in between the trail that goes to the top of the falls and the overlook. So really it's the second path, or the first path past the first warning sign. You're much closer to it than you are from the overlook. Different angle, but much closer to it. So I decided to walk down to the top of the falls, which is the first trail that takes you downward. A little sketchy, but not too bad. Next, I'm going to try to find where this rock wall is. That's the top of the falls right there, going straight down. So I made it down to the rock wall, and decided I'm not going to do it today. There's a lot of ice on the wall, and I had to change shoes to wade across that creek. So I don't really have my best ones on, so we're going to hike back up to the top now. This is the trail. And the side path going here, just overgrown, and that's the overlook right up there in the center of the screen. All right, so hike back to the creek, fixing to cross at the mini waterfall, and we're going to head over and do a revisit to Little Bradley Falls, which I will include in another video, not this one, but that's going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed this video or videos like these, please give it a thumbs up, and please consider checking out the channel and subscribing. Kind of helps me keep going. As always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the bonus footage